I stood at the altar, adjusting my tie for what felt like the 100th time. The weight of every stare in the room pressing down on me like gravity had doubled. My palms were damp, heart thudding against my chest like it wanted out. Then I saw her. Cindy. She floated down the aisle like the moment had been sculpted just for her. Graceful, unshaken, luminous in a way that made everything else blur into periphery. Her dress was simple, no frills or glittering excess, but it was flawless. The kind of beauty that didn't scream, but whisper with confidence. Every step was precise, but effortlessly fluid, like she wasn't walking but gliding. We met nearly 2 years earlier at a charity fundraiser my company had sponsored. She stood out in a crowd full of schmoozers and socialites, sharp-witted, sarcastic, and absolutely unimpressed with me. That's what hooked me. She wasn't trying to charm or be charmed. I had to earn her attention. And I liked that. I respected it. Now, we were standing in front of everyone we loved, preparing to weave our lives together. My best man, Jason, my oldest friend, the guy who once bailed me out of DUI, who'd crashed on my couch more times than I could count, leaned in with a grin and whispered, "You really did it, Russ." I grinned. I still locked on Cindy. Let's not jinx it. He laughed and gave me a firm clap on the back, loud enough to earn a few grins from front row. Then it all unfolded in a blur. Vows, rings, a kiss. One of those moments people say you'll remember forever. But for me, it felt more like a spike of adrenaline, fierce, surreal, gone before you could catch your breath. At the reception, Cindy shined. She moved through the room like she belonged to it. Charming, funny, warm. She danced with my nieces, laughed at the right jokes, held my hand when awkward topics came up, deflecting discomfort with elegance. Watching her, I thought, this is it. This is the woman I'll build a legacy with. Later that night, we stumbled into the condo I bought half a year before proposing. She kicked off her shoes, spun around once in the living room like a carefree teenager, then collapsed onto the couch, giggling. I knelt down, took her hands in mine. "Come on, Mrs. Hayes. Let's start this off right." She smiled, tired but still radiant, and gently pulled her hands back. "Not tonight, Russ. I'm completely wiped." I paused, nodded, kissed her forehead. Of course. Long day. And I meant it. I wasn't going to push. But I didn't realize then that night was an exception. It was a signal, a quiet warning, when I didn't yet know how to read. That first week passed in a haze. Thank you cards, family check-ins, backlog work. Nights were silent, distant. I'd reach out, just small touches, a hand on her back. Fingers laced during a movie. She'd flinch, pull away, or murmur something vague. Exhausted. My body, my choice. Not angry. Just flat. Practiced. I didn't argue. I gave her space. I figured the adjustment period would pass. One night, over takeout and a bottle of wine, I asked, "You okay, Cindy?" She didn't look up. "I'm fine." I waited. "You sure? You seem off." She finally looked at me, her expression unreadable. "Marriage takes adjusting, Russ. It's not perfect from day one." I nodded like it made sense, but something inside me didn't buy it. Then came the phone calls. Late night, hushed, always in the guest bathroom or hallway. I'd ask who it was. She'd smile, vague and breezy. Work stuff. She worked in marketing. Not a job that usually called for midnight whispering behind closed doors. But I let it go. I wanted to believe her. She was my wife. Until the question started. "How much did the expansion cost again?" she asked one night, poking at her salad without much interest. "Why?" "Just curious." I shrugged it off at first. She had a right to know, right? But something in her tone felt calculated, like she was measuring, not just asking. Then Jason stopped by one afternoon to return some golf clubs. We had a beer, shot the breeze. "How's married life?" he asked with a lopsided grin. "Good." I lied. He raised an eyebrow but didn't press. When Cindy walked in, he looked at her for just a second too long. She smiled at him, polite, distant, but something about the exchange made my skin crawl. I ignored it. I wanted to, but it all came crashing down on a Tuesday night. I woke up to the sound of her voice. Soft, secretive. I followed it down the hall and stopped outside the guest bathroom. She was on the phone. "I'm working on it," she whispered. "He has no clue. Just be patient." A pause. Then laughter. Quiet, warm, intimate. The kind meant for someone behind closed doors, not a coworker. I stepped back just before she opened the door. She nearly bumped into me. "What are you doing up?" she asked, too casually. "Couldn't sleep." "Who are you talking to?" "Work. You know how it is." And she breezed past like nothing had happened. I didn't say a word. But later, when she fell asleep, I picked up her phone. I hated myself for it, but I needed the truth. The call logs were full of one name, Jason. Long calls. Late hours. My stomach dropped like I'd missed a stare in the dark. Still, I waited. I needed more. That Friday, she said she was meeting an old college friend. She wore a dress like she was headed for the red carpet. Heels. Makeup. A scent I didn't recognize. I followed her, careful not to be seen. She drove downtown and parked behind a closed coffee shop. Jason was already there. They stepped out of their cars and walked toward each other like they'd done it 100 times before. They kissed. Not awkward. Not new. I didn't confront them. Not then. I just sat there, hands clenched around the wheel, watching until the leather groaned under my grip. And in that moment, something inside me stopped bleeding. It didn't erupt. It just froze. I went home in silence, streetlights blinking past like camera flashes. When she came in later, I smiled and asked how her night was. "Great," she said. "So good to catch up." I poured her wine, kissed her cheek. "You deserve it." While she showered, I checked her purse. Found a second phone, prepaid, unregistered. I didn't need to unlock it. I took photos, time-stamped them, backed them up. The next day, I hired a private investigator, a guy my colleague Robert had used once for a corporate thing. Discreet, thorough. Within 2 weeks, I had everything. Photos of Cindy and Jason at a motel, bank withdrawals, texts from cloud backups, plans, jokes, timelines. They weren't just sleeping together. They were plotting, bleeding me dry, lining up the company for a sell-off behind my back. Jason even had the gall to show up at my office. "Poker this weekend?" he asked, casual as hell. I looked at him, the man who'd once cried on my couch after his father died. "Can't. Got plans with Cindy." He smirked, thought he was winning. But I wasn't just watching. I was laying bricks. Cindy kept asking questions. "You ever think about selling? How much equity is tied up in the expansion?" I played along. "Maybe in a few years." She smiled, fingers typing under the blanket.